So please let me know through chat or by unmuting yourself that you are able to see my screen and able to hear my voice. Okay, thanks. So this is our first session on DRM. So a bit about myself. My name is Tayyab and I have got close to 7.5 years of experience into different Hyperion modules. I have experience on Oracle DRM, space planning and HFR, and bit on the OBI side as well. And this session would be mainly on the DRM part. So let us start with, so the agenda for today's session would be, initially we'll be talking about DRM, what the tool is, what all different options, different components are there in DRM. Then we'll go through the course content, what all we'll be discussing in next our DRM session. And the timelines, how much time will it take, the batch timings and all. And then at the last, we'll have the question and answer session. So you people can ask any doubts, any questions which you might have for this training session, and I'll be happy to answer that. So let us start with a bit introduction on the DRM tool itself. So I have a small presentation to show you. So DRM is basically an Oracle tool to manage your company's metadata. So what DRM does is it enables us to build and manage our enterprise dimensions, enterprise metadata. Okay. So for example, I have this extract from my sample basic application on SBS side. So this is my account dimension. You have parent, you have child, alias, another alias, you have different consolidation, data storage, and all other relevant set of properties for account dimension. Time balance, your skip value, variance reporting, two parts, formulas, and all. So for example, you have 3 SBS applications in your company. You have planning applications. For example, you have HFM applications in your company, and all these applications are using account dimension. Okay. Now, for example, assume that this is the account structure which you have in all your downstream applications. So DRM will hold this accounting structure at a centralized location, and from DRM it will be your downstream applications. So it will act as a central repository for your metadata. Any changes to this accounting structure will be done in your DRM tool, and from there it will be published to your different downstream systems. So it basically enables us to build and manage our enterprise dimensions. Then it streamlines the process for updating dimensional data. By that what I mean is data is updated in one location and then it is fed to different downstream systems. So in our case, for example, we have 3 SBS applications, planning application, HFM, and all of them are using account structure. Now there is a change from the accounting team to add one new account. So if we don't have DRM in place, what we'll have to do is we'll have to manually go into these applications and change the accounting structure. Right? So sometimes it causes inconsistency. Sometimes we might add some member in SBS applications, but we might forget to add it in planning application. So it's tedious job to maintain it in different downstream applications. So what we do, we create a DRM application, there we manage our account structure, we make changes to this structure in DRM, and then feed all these changes to your downstream applications. Then it aligns critical dimensions across systems. That's what I was talking about. We have different downstream systems, SBS planning, HFM, OBI and all, and it aligns your critical dimensions. So all the application, downstream application will have the same accounting structure. Then you can publish your dimensions to downstream systems in fact files or through RDBMS. If you have EPMA, you can push your metadata in ADS format as well. And this DRM tool is basically nowhere related to Hyperion. It's an independent tool. It supports multiple vendors, data models, and architectures. If I talk a little bit about enterprise dimensions, so dimensions are basically reflects how your enterprise measure up values. So for example, you could have dimension as account, product, customer, business unit, location, employee could be another dimension, cost center. So these could be different dimensions in your company. So for example, in this Excel sheet, you'll see this is my account structure. We have got location, different locations where our company operate. And for example, we have this product structure. So similarly, we could have multiple other dimensions as well in our company. So to manage all these dimensions, we use DRM as a tool to manage all these dimensions in a centralized location. So this is the basic. So people can hold on their questions. They can type their questions. We'll discuss all these questions at the end. Let me finish a small presentation. Then we'll discuss all the questions, queries which people have. So this is the basic structure for DRM. So at the bottom, you see you have Oracle Hyperion Data Relationship Management, which aligns your dimensions. Okay, the different dimensions could be cost centers, GL account, organization, entity, time, product, customers, employee, location, BU, or any other dimensions specific to your company. And from DRM, you can feed it to your planning application, your Oracle EBS, your SBS applications, your reporting, analytics, or any other data warehouse downstream system. Okay, so this will be the structure. So at the bottom, you will have DRM, which will hold your metadata. Different metadata could be your cost center, GL, all other dimensions, employee, BU, company code, cost center, and this will be fed to your different downstream applications. Let us talk about architecture for your DRM. So this is a simple DRM architecture where you have 4 components. The first component is your web client. So web client is basically a main interface for users where they will make your changes to your dimensions. It communicates through your web server, and web server passes the information to your app server, and then it communicates to the database. So at the backend, you have relational database. You could have Oracle or SQL Server. So web client is primarily user interface for managing your metadata. It requires your Mozilla or Internet Explorer. Then you have web server, which basically brokers your user request. It requires Microsoft IIS 0 or above. Then you have application server. So this is where your all user requests to manage your metadata will be processed, and it requires your Windows Server and .NET Framework 4.5. And at the last, you have database, which stores all your DRM application metadata, and which could be your Oracle or SQL Server. So these are the basic 5 components in your DRM. You have web client, you have web server, then you have app server, you have database. Let me show you the installation path and different components over there. So I have installed my DRM tool in this folder: E drive, Oracle, middleware, EPM system 11R1, products, DRM, and these are basic components in your DRM. So if I go to, for example, client, so you see 4 different clients available over here: web client, migration client, DRM diagnostics, and batch client. Web client is basically used to log in through your web browser to your DRM application. Migration client is used for your DRM application migration from one application to another application, or from one server to another server. For example, you are doing migration from staging environment or dev environment to QA environment, and then from QA to production. So you will be using this migration client to migrate all your metadata and objects from one application to another application. It could be on the same server, it could be on different server. Then you have batch client. So this is basically used to automate all the activities which you can perform through your web client. So this is a separate utility through which you can do automation of different tasks which you perform in DRM. If I go to server, if I go to bin, over here you will see DRM server console. If you open it, you will get this DRM server console. So this is the place from where you will create your DRM applications. So as you can see, I have got 5 different applications created: DRM1, DRM2, DRM Jan1, Jan2. So you can create as many number of applications as you need, and each of these applications will be storing all your metadata objects in your DRM_DB database in the first case. In the other application, it will be some other repository. So once you create a DRM application, you need to have a repository. So for example, for this application DRM1, I am using this repository called DRM_DB. So as you create your DRM application, at the backend in this user schema DRM_DB, there will be some tables which will be created on its own. Okay, and all your metadata, your versions, your hierarchies and nodes, and all different objects will be stored in this database. So if I show you, for example, there are almost 122 different tables which will be created at the backend once you create a DRM application. And if I show you the tables, so this is a list of tables. This also, once we do an installation, we can download this. So these are the different tables which will be created. For example, create table. This is your schema name, and this is your table name, RM_RM_. So totally 122 different tables are created at the backend. You see 122 different tables will be created at the backend to store all your metadata and its objects. Okay, so these tables are automatically created once you create your DRM application. So this is about your server console. Server console is basically used to create your DRM applications. Then whenever you create a DRM application, this is your config file which will have all the information for your application. Okay. Then let me log into the tool itself and show you a couple of options. So this is the web client through which you will be logging to your DRM applications. So as of now, you see these are the 5 different applications which I have. Let us log into first application. So this is the home page once you log into your DRM applications. So initially you will not see any of the versions. This we have created for our previous batch. So initially you will not see any of the versions over there. So let me open one version. So you can see different versions, BISP November 15, BISP and all. So for example, if I open this BISP November 15 and open your product hierarchy, for example, so this is your product structure which you have in your Excel sheet. You have top as product, and then you have 100, 200, 300, 400 and died as children to your product. Similarly, you will see your product at the top, and these are the children of your product. Then under 100, you will see all the children of 100, 110, 120, 130. So this is how the DRM tool maintains your metadata in your parent-child relationship. Okay. If you see over here, we have this category as SBase. So this is that we have created on all the properties which are required for your SBase application. You will be required to create all of them, and you will have to set all the properties. So for example, if you see this is the extract from SBase, so you need time balance skip property, variance reporting, 2-pass calculation, formulas, UDAs, attributes. So these are the different properties which we have created: consolidation, formula, time balance, 2-pass calculation, dimension type, account type, data storage, and all. So once we go into subsequent classes, we'll see how to create different properties as required by your downstream systems. So this is how your DRM manages your metadata, and it is how we get to see in your hierarchy. And at the left hand side, you'll see different links over here: browse, query, compare, script, import, blend, export, audit. And in administer, you'll see a lot of other options as well. So these all topics we'll be covering in our subsequent sessions, what all these links do. If I go to administer, you see different property definitions, hierarchy groups, validations, and all. So let me open one property definition. So for example, we have consolidation property in our SBase or planning application, where we can have plus, minus, multiplication, division, ignore, or never consolidation property. So same list of values you'll have to create in your DRM. DRM by default does not provide. So I have created this property called consolidation with these list of values: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, percent, ignore, and never. So this is how we'll be creating custom defined properties as required by our downstream application. Okay. Then you have a strong audit trail available in DRM. Any changes to your metadata can be tracked through your audit section. If you change some property, if you add one node or delete one particular node, all those information can be tracked in your audit section. So I'm not going into details of all these right now. So this is I just wanted to give you a look and feel of your DRM web client. Let me show you the course content, what we'll be discussing in our subsequent classes. So these are the topics which we'll be going through in our class. So we'll start with version, what a version is, and different properties and options. Then we'll discuss about version variables, how to take backup and restore of a particular version. We'll discuss about hierarchy group, hierarchy properties, different options in hierarchy. We'll discuss about nodes. There are two types, limb and leaf, and different properties and options available for your nodes. Then we'll discuss some of the system preferences in DRM and how to change them, and what all implications are there if you change your system preference. Then we'll see how to create external connection. Again, external connection will be for flat files and RDBMS. We'll discuss about what a domain is in DRM. We'll discuss what is a property category, how to create properties, as we just saw one for your application. So there are different types by which you can create your properties. You can create defined, lookup, derived property using your formulas, which is available in your DRM, and using your JavaScript as well. We can create your validations, your real-time batch, and both type of validations. So validations I mean is for your downstream systems, you might require some validation. For example, in your SBase application, the validation could be your node name and node alias could not be more than 80 characters. So if you try to create any member in your SBase application and you give your node name more than 80 characters, it will throw some error message that you cannot have a particular member more than 80 characters of name. So all these kind of validations we can create in our DRM application. Okay. Then we'll discuss about node types and usage, glyphs. We'll see how to import metadata from flat file or from RDBMS to your DRM application. We'll see what an action script is, and we'll run some action script using flat files and using a node model concept. We'll see how to run a query. Guys, please, can you please put yourself on mute? There's a lot of background noise. we'll see how to perform comparison between two different versions. So for example, by comparison, I mean, for example, this is your product hierarchy for your January month, okay? And in February month, you are required to make some changes. I'm deleting some of the members. So 110 product is no more available. I'm deleting it. I'm having some new products which has been introduced. For example, 140 is the new product, which is introduced in Feb month. So there is a change from Jan to Feb in product hierarchy. So if I want to get to know what all changes are there in your product hierarchy, we can use this compare option in DRM. So again, compare also, we can perform various type of comparison, visual, structure, properties, and rename comparison. We'll see once we go to compare. Then we have blend option. To blend one particular hierarchy to another existing hierarchy, we'll use your blend option. We can export all your metadata from DRM in flat file or to RDBMS to be pushed to your downstream SBS or planning or HFM or any other downstream systems. We have concept of books also, which is actually clubbing together different exports in one. So this is basically your books. Then we have, as I said, we have a strong audit and option. So whatever changes you make in DRM application, all those changes will be tracked, can be tracked by users who have performed those actions in your audit section. We have security in DRM. We can create users. We can restrict some users to access one particular hierarchy or one particular object through your node access group and object access group. Then finally, we'll see your migration part, how to migrate your DRM application from one application to another or from one server to another server. And then at the last, we'll see automation using your batch client. So all these activities which we perform in your web client, your comparison, your action script, taking import, running export, all these can be automated through your batch client. That we'll see in our last class. So these are the different topics which we'll be covering. So at the start only, I want to make sure there are two components in DRM. One is your DRM component, the other one is DRG, where we do your governance part. So this training session will be covering only your DRM part. DRG part will not be covered. So if you see over here in your web client, you will see your work list over here at the top, and in administer you will see workflow and workflow models. So those topics will not be covered in this session. So this is mainly for your DRM. So this workflow task and workflow models and this work list will not be covered in this session. The duration for our training session would be close to 24-25 sessions, 1 hour session, and we'll have regular batches from Monday to Saturday, IST. So this is what I had to share. Now people can ask any doubts or questions which they might have. Let me see one question which somebody has asked. Different dimension structures will be managed for different downstream application. Yes, exactly. So we'll see how to manage different dimension structures once we go into classes. So all your downstream system, for example, you have a space planning or HFM which is using a different accounting structure, will be managed in your one centralized place, and from there only you will push your metadata to your downstream systems. The prerequisite for this course would be a bit knowledge on the Hyperion side, not necessary, but if you know about these properties, for example, your time balance, your skip value, your variance reporting, so it will be easy for you when we create these properties in DRM, and a bit knowledge on the relational database side. So because at the backend it creates all the relational tables only. You see different 122 tables are created, and with its own primary key and foreign key relationship. So which is normally we don't require, but if sometimes we get some error message in DRM, so we'll have to go to this all these tables and see what all primary key and foreign key relationship is there. So this batch would be on weekdays from Monday to Saturday, morning 8 a.m. IST. So weekend, I'm not sure, you'll have to check with BISP if we are going to have a weekend batch. But as of now, I don't think we are going to have a weekend batch. This batch will be on weekdays, Monday to Saturday, morning 8 a.m. IST. So do you have any issues in coming on this time? Okay, so you can drop an email to Kapil or Mohit, and we can work out on that. For regarding fee and all, you will have to check with Mohit or Kapil. So I'll be mainly taking your technical side. So if you have any questions on the technical side, on the tool and all, you can ask me. For other operational activities, your fees and your other activities, you can talk to Mohit or Kapil.